Good morning.
Notification volume 0%.
Oops. Good morning. I'm Lorraine Gutierrez. This is my channel, Lessons in Love, where I get to share my lessons that have made my life a happier, fuller, more joyful, peaceful place. Today I want to talk about something kind of big. There's a lot of messages out there. And again, we want to talk about discernment. Now, I can speak from my truth and I can speak from what makes sense. I'm a big fan of logic. So if something makes sense and it works, well, I'm going to go with it. I'm kind of a pragmatist too. If it works and it feels right, then I'm going to consider it truth. So that's why I can read a piece of information and pull out the relevant information, because the best lies have a string of truth. Kind of like when my daughter's lying to me and telling me, oh no, I wasn't abusing my tablet. No, I wasn't. I just couldn't go to sleep. When in reality, she's got her earphones in and she's listening to music on her little Alexa thing. So the best lies have a string of truth. So being able to cut through the BS is something that we all need to do. And here is why it is important. We have to take back our power. We need to remember, not learn, remember that we are sovereign beings of light, love, peace, joy. We are extensions of the Creator. Whether you call Creator Source, God, Creator, Prime Creator, Universe, Cosmos, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't care what you call it. It really doesn't. You don't have to have the right terminology, the right label, because you know in here, everything is made from something. It has to be. It has to be, whether or not you consciously realize it. This table, this computer screen, everything has to be made. Okay, so realizing that we are sovereign beings of God. We are extensions of God. And the difference between something that's been made and something that's an extension. So think about an octopus, think about my arm. My arm is an extension of this body. Okay, it's attached, it continues, and it has a definite ending. Okay, this napkin was made. Oh, it's human being. I love human being coffee. Anyway, this napkin was made. It is outside of the factory. It is outside of myself. It is made. It is outside. So if we're all extensions of God, then we have, and when he says, God said, in the Bible it says, God made man in his own image. He wasn't talking about 2 arms and 2 legs. Come on, really? Talking about who and what we really are. And who and what we really are is energy. We're extension of the Creator. Okay, now, the Creator is the Alpha and the Omega, the great I am. There is nothing besides Creator. Nothing. There can't be. If the Creator is the Alpha and the Omega, if Source is the end-all be-all, the great I am, how is there anything besides Creator? Okay, so take a little teeny step back. If we're extensions of the Creator, that means that we have, as the Bible teaches, the kingdom of God is where? The kingdom of God is within. It's within. So when I'm watching people, and really well-minded people, really well-meaning people, smart people, well-meaning people, when I hear we're talking about muscle testing, and I'm going to make another video on that because muscle testing is phenomenal. But I heard this really intelligent guy talk about, muscle testing. Learn, muscle testing is a great way to know, what's good for you or what's your truth, or, how to take in nutrition and all that other stuff. Then he goes to say, make sure you go to a trained specialist. And I have a problem with that. You know everything you need to know about yourself and what's around you and what's best for you. You know. As far as muscle testing is concerned, you just have to learn how to work it. And again, I'll make another video, so this one won't be too long. Excuse me. We need to stop giving our power away. You know, over 100 years ago, people weren't using pharmaceuticals. Yeah, they were kind of coming about, but they were just derivatives from plants for the most part. Let's say 100 years ago, 1920. Let's go 150 years ago. Okay. My mom has a story that when she or her brothers would get cuts, her grandfather, who didn't speak English, would go in the back, find spider web, and put it on their cut. And she said next day it'd be healed. I didn't believe her at the time. My mom has a tendency to tell stories. I didn't believe her at the time, but now that I've done more research and I'm older and can think better for myself, I realized, think about the regenerative properties in a spider web. And then people put raw honey inside deep wounds. And, you know, the doctors will say, don't do that because it could be tainted with E. coli, or it could be this, it could be that. Well, let's think about this logically. What do the bees make honey for? Bees make honey for the babies, so they can grow, and it has regenerative properties. So when we start thinking about things like that, and these so-called specialists have been trained in a certain manner to help keep this huge beast going. So I think this person was very well-meaning when they said, oh, you know, it could be the devil talking through you. It could be the devil. And I understand where he's coming from. He's still in a fear-based mode. And I get that. But you don't have to be. And I don't have to be. And understanding that you've got a sovereign inheritance. It is your rightful inheritance from your creator. It's, you know, why, you know, when children go fighting over what their parents leave them, because they believe it's theirs. That is my share. I deserve 1/3. I've got 2 brothers. I deserve 1 share, although I couldn't care less if they want to fight over it. But you get my point. Okay. You know, I want my fair share because it's rightfully mine. Well, that's what we need to do with our true, energetic, God-given abilities, powers, and rights. We have to stand up for ourselves. So when we're talking about the current climate, and I go around and see people wearing masks, I just keep thinking, I know, and most people know now. I mean, whether or not they want to believe it, that's, you know, that's on them, because that's where they are. So again, no judgment. But the CDC and the WHO, they've all released information on their websites, mind you, that the CDC was my favorite. Even though they say that you need to wear a mask for the coronavirus. Oops, sorry, I said the C word. Even though you should wear masks to help protect against the virus. Now realize a micrometer is teeny. Teeny, 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 teeny. Microscopic. Micrometer, get it? Okay. The micrometer of the space in a regular mask, like the kind that we're wearing, say anything from like the material is larger to those cloth, the cotton ones are smaller, but they're still big. Hold them up, you can see through it. I see you. A virus, so it's about anywhere between 10 and 50 micrometers depending on the material you're using. So let's just go with a happy 30. Okay, right in the middle. The micrometer of a virus is 0.5. 0.5, not even 1, a 0.5. So 10 viruses can walk arm in arm, you know, Radio City Hall, dancing through these spaces. So in this, let's go to the CDC website. And so at first, these masks don't protect against viruses, but then it was magically changed. And so then, it helps protect against the virus. Or I think it said it may help protect or something like that. The verbiage was kind of inconsistent. Well, now, well, actually, if you go to the website underneath like smoke inhalation, it tells you there that masks do not prevent smoke inhalation. How big is a particle of ash or smoke? It's huge. It's huge. And these masks don't even protect against that. So again, logic. Let's use a little bit of common sense and some high school science. So when you look back at high school science and common sense, the masks don't make sense. So as I'm walking around, I'm looking at my fellow people, my fellow humans. Oh. The other arms to, my creativity, to my extension, because we're all extending from the same source. I get sad. And then I try not to, because each person is in their own experience and their own truth. So when this guy says, go and have, a professional muscle test you, you can muscle test yourself. And I'm going to go into it really quickly right now, but I'll go into it a little bit more depth into another video. So the way I do it is I hold my hand horizontal in front of me with the fist. Okay. And then, can you see? Yeah, you can see me. Okay. So you say yes. Say yes. And I use 3 fingers to just push down firmly but gently on the top of my wrist. Say no. Now, you could say, wait, so for those of you that didn't see that, no. My wrist dropped about 2 inches. Now, you could say that I'm doing it myself. Wait, I am doing it myself. So whether or not I'm doing it subconsciously or consciously, sorry, the heater just turned off. So sorry if I was yelling at you. You probably didn't even hear it. So whether or not I'm doing it consciously or subconsciously, it's always going to work out in your best interest. But it takes a little bit of practice to get to know your body and to be able to communicate your information. So I don't have anything here. Oh, so the rest of my breakfast. Okay. I've got mushrooms, onions, red bell pepper, eggs, and some cheese. So every single ingredient, because I just started doing this reliably, like where I actually trust it. So every ingredient, I put my hand over the ingredient. So I had red bell pepper. Okay. Well, actually, I'll even just show you the breakfast. So right now I've got 2 eggs, cheese, bell pepper, mushrooms, onions, and I've got probably more than half left. But that's what's in my bowl. So I'm holding my hand over the bowl. You can even just make a mental connection, because what you need to do is make a energetic connection to what you're testing for. Whether it be energetically up here, put yourself there, or you can be in its actual field. It really doesn't matter, because intention is everything. And we've talked about that a little bit before, but intention is everything. So what makes me more comfortable is that I'll put my hand over it and say, I have my right hand over my bowl and I've got my left hand up. Said, is this breakfast good for me? Does my body want to eat this breakfast? Okay, do you know why it says no? Because I'm full. I'm already eaten. So again, let me ask this. Is this a good breakfast to have for tomorrow? Okay. So that is how it works. And you just have to go through and again, test for yourself. So we had another video where you're looking in the mirror and talking to your truths. You can just stand there and just do everything. Am I a man? Am I a woman? Am I tall? I'm like 5'9", well, not quite 5'10". Am I tall? Am I short? Okay. Am I a guy? Okay. So you just have to feel into it, feel into your body and how it moves. So actually that was a pretty good explanation, pretty short. So let's get back to this whole discernment thing and knowing your truth. You have to get to a point, and I really do mean have to, okay? Because The reason why we got into this mess, this global mess that we're in, is because we kept giving our power away. And they were really smart about it. Don't get me wrong. I was one of the, my child is fully vaccinated. Okay. 4 or 5 years ago is when I learned, holy crap, this is a farce and a half. Not only that, but it's unhealthy and detrimental. I mean, it's just, oh my gosh. But my daughter's fully vaccinated. So that is proof to you that I wasn't awake. I came to this point over time as well. So we have to come to a point where we stand up and take our sovereign power back. And when the masks came up, one of my nieces, we have this family strand on our texting, because Facebook, that's like a swamp. Anyway, so we have this little family text, and it's just immediate family. And she put up a meme about, wearing your mask, and you wear a seatbelt, don't you? Well, then you should wear a mask. It's the law. And I'm like, oh my gosh. First thing, a mandate is not a law. Okay, all these lockdowns, all these mask wearing deals, they're not legal. But because we were told by the media and by, the sign on the door, we just, we just went along with it. Now, I started thinking about this and realizing the seatbelt law, again, is one of those steps toward control. And I'll explain why I believe that. If something is good for you, you'll do it yourself. If something is good for your children, you'll enforce it upon them. That's your job when somebody's under 18 years old and in your care. So when seatbelts came out and there were commercials, seatbelts save lives. And then, they explain how you get jostled around, and then it just makes sense because your uncle got into a car accident with his kids all flying out the back of the truck, and, it just made sense. But they decided that it needed to be a law because we don't know how to take care of ourselves, which is a bunch of baloney. So a law should be in place, and this is obviously my channel, my opinion. A law should be in place only when it protects somebody else or protects somebody else's belongings. That's it. Running a red light, you're infringing on somebody else's free will to move forward with their green light. To steal somebody else's property, you're infringing on their ability to have what they've worked hard for. So you get where I'm going with this. So I think the seatbelt law, I think the helmet law for motorcycle riders, come on. There's an old joke. There are two types of motorcycle riders. Ones that haven't been in an accident and ones that have been. Okay, that's an old joke. Motorcycle riders know this. My brother's been in 4, I think. You better believe he wears a helmet. And those people that don't want to wear a helmet, that should be their right. They're not hurting anybody else by not wearing a helmet. You're not hurting anybody else by not wearing a seatbelt. You're not hurting anybody else by not wearing a mask. Well, first of all, let's just pretend they were effective. Okay, let's just pretend. If a mask is so effective, aren't you protected if you've got it on? If vaccines are so effective, why are you concerned that this family over here is not vaccinated? If you're fully vaccinated and they're not, what does it matter to you? Do you see what I'm saying? So what does it matter to you? And there's something that Tina Spalding, through Tina Spalding says, stay in your own lane. Don't worry about what's the other traffic or what's over there, what's over here. Stay in your own lane. You got your own stuff to deal with. And when we're looking outside judging other people, you're not wearing a helmet. You're not 6 foot distancing. Oh my gosh. There was a woman at the store and she was reaching right by my husband. And she's got a mask on. He's got a mask on because he's a trained sheep too, and he knows it. And she looks at him and says, virus, and like basically like is, in her tone of voice, like, step back, you're too close. But he was the one reaching across her, and he was the one at the podium paying. And I couldn't stop laughing. But inside me there's a little bit of sadness, because so many of us are just not realizing who and what we truly are. We're waking up to it, and we need more people to wake up to it. So, in conclusion, as you're listening to people speak, work on that discernment. Do you feel it in your tummy? Do you feel it in your chest? Your initial knee-jerk reaction will almost always be right. I mean, like, depending on the person, but we're talking
Message, Telegram,
oops,
37 new messages from
that.
6 chats. Message, Telegram, 38 new messages from 6 chats.
So, I have speech assistant on because of my blindness, and I forgot to turn it off before I started this video. So when you are reading through something, watching something, listening to something, when you're taking in information, realize there are systems set up to keep you in fear. All of us. I don't just mean you personally, I mean to keep us in fear. That's the goal. There's a whole bunch of different reasons for that, but we'll go into that another time. When you keep a population in poverty and fear, you have them. And then here's the best part. When you elevate some of those slaves or some of that population and to a level of importance, you watch these people over here. And if anybody isn't wearing a mask, you come tell us. Okay, that's going on in Australia. See something, say something. You've heard the slogans. That wasn't, oh, if somebody's breaking into your neighbor's car. No, they were indoctrinating us for this particular moment, depending on how bad the lockdowns got and how far their agenda moved. So over in Australia, people are turning each other in like crazy. At least they were. I think it was happening in England as well, and probably other places around the world. I had an uncle who was talking about families who were getting together, that they were not abiding by the 6-foot distancing of the mask. He's like, excuse my language, like stupid fucks. He's like, they're just all contaminating each other. And I looked at him and I said, you do realize this virus isn't what they're making it out to be. Yeah, there's a virus, and it's less deadly than the flu. Oh, well, the people are getting, dying from this. And like, okay, do you know anybody who actually caught it? Number one. Number two, do you know anybody who actually died from it? Supposedly, now see if you can follow this. My first cousin, okay, so we call it in Spanish, we call it like prima hermana. So my first cousin, who's like a sister, her ex-husband's niece's father-in-law in Mexico died, and he was like 87 or something. That's how my uncle, I have an uncle, but anyway, I have an uncle who's down in California, and he has extreme diabetes. He's extremely overweight. He's like 400 pounds, completely insulin dependent, missing circulation in his legs. He had COVID for like a week, and he's fine. So, not only can you take the practical proof, but then you also knew people in the hospital. My husband works at a hospital. And then, of course, there's a bunch of YouTube whistleblowers who are saying that on these death certificates, they were told to write COVID. Oops, I said it again. They were told to write this down so it could be part of the stats. And then they were paid for it, which I don't know if you've heard that or not, but they were paid like thousands of dollars, like, I don't know, like $1,500 if they just diagnosed it, and $3,500 if they caused it a death. I don't even remember. It was like so long ago I heard that information, so I don't even know. Not anymore, but you can look that up. That's pretty easy to research. And so I'm looking at my uncle, I'm like, do you realize, yes, I understand this virus exists, but it's nowhere near as deadly as the flu. And most of the people that did pass from it were people who were put on those ventilators. Because once the lungs are compromised and you overblow the lungs with a ventilator, you don't have a shot. Once you went on a ventilator, from the true cases, from what I'm hearing,
Thumbs up. Someone liked your comment.
Oops.
Good evening, Janine. Peter Slatter.
Okay. So, sorry about that. So, I lost my train of thought. So the respirators would blow out the lungs. And that's why once somebody went on a respirator, especially with a compromised condition, which is why they went on a respirator, that's when they were pretty much done for. And so all the fear, oh my gosh, so-and-so's got COVID and they're going to be hospitalized. Well, how many people died of the flu? So many fewer people. In reality, though, but remember, if you're watching mainstream media, 50 billion people died of this C virus. And, when reality was, it was not even like 10,000 or something like that. I forget. It's so past. But I digress. So getting back to this, giving our power away is our hugest lesson right now in this moment. We're moving to a fourth density realm. Okay. I understand people say, we're going to 5D, we're going to 5D. Yes, we're going to 5D, but not yet. Okay. Fifth density is when you have a crystalline body, which is so beautiful, and you can create on site. I can just sit here and look at this and go, I would like, actually, I would like nothing because I just had breakfast. Oh, I got one. I would like an organic mocha, cappuccino, mochaccino from Human Bean with whipped cream and the bean on top. Yeah, that sounds good. So, and I could just actually create it. Jesus, in his later years after he became the Christ, he was fifth density. So we're moving into fourth density at this particular moment. That is a love-based community where it is service to others and service to others. I love helping people. It's so much fun. Service to others and honesty is very, very, very important. So you can see how giving your power away completely conflicts with where we're going. You give your power away, you're sitting in a position of victimization. You're sitting in a position of depression or even some resentment. So how can you be in love? Because love is it's the highest vibration on the spectrum. Sorry, you're looking at it this way. Highest vibration on the spectrum. And actually, depression and sadness are completely on the other side. Fear is the total opposite. You can't have fear and love in the same space. So that's the reason why you have to take back your power. You have to take back your power. When you do that, you will no longer be in fear. And of course, it's going to come and go because we're humans and we're still unprogramming. We're deprogramming. We really are. When you're from 0 to about 7, 8 years old, give or take, you're in a hypnagogic state. Your brain waves are working at a speed of hypnosis. So everything you're learning between 0, 7, 8-ish is just getting dropped right into your subconscious. You're being hardwired for that. I mean, it's not technically because you can change it, so it'd be a software, but you get my point. It's getting rooted in there so deeply that it is taking time to pull the layers away. So that's where we are. So slowly and steadily, if you're already on that path, yay, because we need a lot more of us to hold the light and to keep moving forward. And there's a reason for that, which we'll go in another time. But it's important that we continue to move in the direction of love, which means the gap between fear and love can continue to grow. And not only is it the right direction for those of us that want freedom and abundances and love, live in community, but it feels really good. When my daughter walks to my mother's house, it's about a half mile away, and she walks by a park and then a pool that isn't being used right now because it's an outdoor pool and we live in Reno. So she walks by there and my mom would freak out. My daughter's 11 and she's like 5'4", 5'5". So my mom would freak out, and I'm telling her, like, why am I going to worry about my daughter walking a half mile over to you when she's completely loved completely protected, and she walks with angels. And if you're not sure if you walk with angels, call them. They will come. Pick an angel, any angel. You can even just say somebody from my highest good. You can say my guides. You can, any of those labels or terms that you can identify with an energy, they will come. And there's a couple of different reasons for that too.
Red circle, Michael Knowles.
The biggest reason though is love. They're coming because they love us. And that's what they do. So here's a takeaway from this video that ended up being a lot longer than I thought. Take back your power. When someone says, oh, you should consult a trained physician, well, I'll tell you something. As far as like the keto diet, which I'm vegetarian now, so I went off the keto diet. That's the reason why I gained a little bit more weight back. But that's just temporary. I'm not going to worry about it. I know a lot about the keto diet. I know a lot about the paleo diet. I know a lot about low-fat diets. I know a lot about exercising. And in all honesty, because I'm so focused when I'm learning, I may know more about the keto diet than most dietitians right now. Probably not now anymore, because people are really getting on board with the health benefits, and they're just through the roof. They're phenomenal. So maybe not as much anymore as it was in the past, but you can be your own official. So when a doctor goes and gets trained, he's trained by a pharmaceutical company.
The dodo, tiny puppy gets.
Oh my gosh. So he's being trained by the pharmaceutical company. But he's still reading books and reading information. And he's probably not even getting accurate information, because the pharmaceutical companies are training our doctors to keep us sick. They're not in health care, they're in pain management. There's a difference. So realize that you can become your own specialist. You have the power to be your own person, and use the muscle testing. Use it. So I was testing because I was thinking, I eat less than the average person. I know I'm not as active as I could be or even want to be. There's a couple of reasons. I'm lazy and it's cold and I got excuses. Yeah. So test and learn how to use your tools. So today when I was testing, I was going to have a piece of rye toast, a piece of rye bread, put my egg. I was just going to have an egg, slice of cheese on a piece of toast. And I held the toast and I put it in front of me and I said, is this toast good for me? And the answer was a very distinct no. Is it okay that I eat this? No. So the toast went back in the fridge. And because I'm trusting it now, I'm going to use it now more often. So I also learned that my human being coffee, because I put junk in it. I got the Torani syrups, and we've got, I use heavy whipping cream, and then I put cream on top, because again, I'm coming off of keto. So keto cream is fine, sugar-free, anything is fine, coffee is fine, whipped cream is
Senate
fine.
Republicans propose 600.
So all that's fine, but I muscle tested it, and my body told me it's not good for me, but I can have 2 a week. I can tolerate that. If I just had my organic coffee with my stevia or my erythritol, I could have that 6 days a week, 7 days a week, 1 cup per day. So it has to do with the junk. So anyway, get to know your own body. Try the muscle testing out. You could do it with a finger. I use this because that feels better for me. With my vision, that could quite possibly be part of it. That it's very, very physical. It's a large motion. I have a chiropractor who puts a plastic disc on his belt, and as he's testing people's systems, he's feeling the tension or the drag of his finger on the disc. So as he's going around, he's testing, dragging, and he'll go to 80, 90, 70%, and then he moves on, and he's like touching different parts of your body. The energy worker that I'm working with, she tests me with my hand straight out, and she tests me with my arm coming down. So, and just develop the one that works for you. And I didn't mean for this to turn into a muscle testing video. I guess I won't have to do one now. But take back your power. Don't wear the mask if you don't have to. And here's the deal. I left Costco because they were insisting I wear a mask, and I was afraid that they would pull my membership. And since I get my car insurance, well, I don't drive. Okay, I don't drive. But since I get my car insurance through Costco, and it saves us, oh my gosh, we're paying like $90 a month for 5 months, and we get the 6 month off, and we have a 2017. Is that right? I think we have a 2017 Toyota Corolla. So we're paying like $92 a month, I think, for 5 months, and then we get a month off, which is about $190 less than what we were paying with Progressive. So we get that, and then plus we also get renter's insurance through there, which is like $20 cheaper per month, and we only pay like 6 months out of the year. I mean, there are a lot of benefits to keeping my Costco membership. Plus, it pays for the interest rate for my Costco credit card. Not my interest rate, but the annual fee. Okay, so all that comes out of there. So I didn't want them to pull my Costco membership. But when it comes to like Target or Walmart or any other grocery store, people ask me, "Do you have a mask?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's right here." And I'll like pull it out of my pocket and I'll like move in front of my face because I'm walking away from them. Move it from my face, and I just take it in my other hand and put it in my other pocket. Most big box stores don't care. So, well, most big stores, I should say, because big box means like Sam's or Costco. So that is one way you can take your power back. And I didn't want to lie at first when you've got medical exemptions. I didn't want to lie at first. And then I realized every time I put that mask on, I get anxious. So I tell people the truth. I've got PTSD. I can't wear that mask. It goes against every fiber in my body. And if people still insist on it, and they're a small business, I understand their fear and where they're coming from. So then my husband will just do the shopping for whatever I wanted. But there are little ways you can take back your power. I call it civil disobedience. It's like, like burning your bra kind of deal. I'm not old enough to live through the 60s, thank you. But I, did hear stories, and I did watch, news reports and whatnot. So civil disobedience. And don't tell my apartment manager, but I keep ripping down the 6-foot sign that's outside our laundry room. Shh, don't tell. It says like 6-foot distancing. I don't know. Draconian distancing is just, I think it's so dumb and lame and whatever. So take back your power where you can. You can do it in your home. Like when your spouse expects you to make coffee every morning, don't make coffee one day. If they expect it of you and you do it because you feel an obligation, I don't believe in obligation either. That's another video. Take back your power. If somebody expects you to do something, here's what I tell my daughter. Okay. If you're not hurting yourself, you're not hurting somebody else, and you're not hurting somebody's property, have fun. And Bud James, he's a hypnotherapist here in Reno. He said his little motto is, have fun, harm none. I like it. We should put on a t-shirt. And that's honestly the rules that we're going to be adopting as we go into this fourth density. And Megan Martinez, she's one of the psychics, the psychic medium team. Psychics in Sedona, I think is Psychics in Sedona. And then she has her own channel, like the Fabulous Miss M or something. But she's involved with two. And she's like talking about the rules coming into this new realm that we're going into, this fourth density love community-based service to others. She's like, I think he asked her, he's like, so are there going to be rules? And she says, yeah, there's rules, but basically it's like, just don't be a jerk. And I love that. She made me laugh so hard. Just don't be a jerk. So take back your power, but remember, don't smack people in the face with your wings. Spread them, stretch your wings, understand who and what you really are. And if you can always remember, love is always the answer. It doesn't matter what the question is. Love is always the answer. When my daughter won't get out of bed, she starts school at 7:30, and I'm still waiting for her to get in the car at 7:25, 7:29, 7:30, 7:32. I have a choice. I can go into anger, which I have multiple times, or I can just go into love. Be the aware witness. She's 11 years old. She's in a magnet program. She's obviously very intelligent, and she wants to be in this program. So her natural consequences are going to be her guide. You have X amount of tardies, they turn into an absence. X amount of absences, you turn into detention. I get her up on time. Her grandmother's here to drive her. The adults got it going on. So why am I going to get angry? Take a step back. Be the aware witness. Love is always the answer. You're going to get a lot further with love. And you're going to feel a whole heck of a lot better. So thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for joining me here on my channel's Lessons and Love. Lessons and Love. And I'll see you next time. Blessings.